How's it going, everybody? I am Preston Johnson.
Welcome to
Last Word Cheetah, brought to you by Bets TV.
That's a general laugh.
That's exactly right. You're a fish.
Qwan, by the way, my producer, Qwan Young, doing a good job. He'll be taking the calls. How you doing today, bud?
Hey, man, how are you?
We appreciate you guys tuning in. Welcome to the show, Bets TV, bringing you Last Word Cheetah. How's it going, everybody? Welcome in to Last Word Cheetah, brought to you by Bets TV here in the Bets TV studios in Southern California. I am Preston Johnson, hosting the show today, taking your calls. 661-515-BETS is the phone line. Talk over Week 6 college football, Week 5 NFL. We got a wild card game that I may or may not care about today. Dodgers, Cardinals, we'll talk about that. We actually have Collin Wilson on. We pre-recorded. He has a spot later on coming up pretty soon, actually, on MLB Network. So we pre-recorded a spot with him to talk some college football, two of the big games, Oklahoma, Texas, and Georgia, Auburn. But we also talked, he gave us the inside scoop on what he's going to talk about on the MLB Network show and what he thinks about the Cardinals-Dodgers matchup and then just the general macro assessment of the MLB playoffs going forward. So we'll have all of that. It's about a 20-minute interview, so we're going to have to cut calls off a little sooner today. I know the last few days they've basically gone nearly the full hour. So we'll try to be quick. We'll get everyone through that we can. You're obviously playing for real cash. We've had winners every month. We've given away like $3,000 now in total cash. So we'll get them. We had a bet on who was going to be the first caller. Qwan, who was first? Okay, so you lost. He went with someone else. I was going to give Qwan a free 100 if he picked the caller right. By the way, Alec from Ohio, thank you. Welcome back to the show. Quan's been telling me every day for who knows how long that your name is Alex, but it's actually not. And Alec was gracious enough to not even correct us, but we got it now. So, Alec, welcome. Alec from Ohio. It's Last Word Cheetah. What are you looking at to bet today?
I was wondering if there was any Bills +3 left on the board.
I don't think there was. Even yesterday, I'm pretty sure they were all gone. Ooh, no, there's a +3 -114 at one prominent shop I can give you. So if that works for you, -114, that isn't bad.
Yeah, that works for me, for sure.
Break it down for us. I'm pretty much Chiefs or pass at -2.5 in my opinion. But why Bills at 3?
I just have this team as the 1 seed going forward in the AFC. So, I don't know. I think they're just a little bit better than the Chiefs in terms of everything but the quarterback.
There's an argument to be made. Yeah, they're definitely better defensively. I'm not sure weapons-wise. I'd probably still take Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, but and then Patrick Mahomes, obviously better than Allen. I think the argument really is the defensive side, where KC's graded out pretty much one of the worst in football so far. So can they figure that out to some extent? In the past, they've gotten to about league average. We'll see if that ever happens. I'm staying away, but I have found it interesting that after what the Bills have done the last 3 weeks and their results, just insane, and now KC, kind of a team that people are starting to feel like they're down on, it might be the time to kind of cheaply buy here on the Chiefs at home under a field goal. But you still get that opportunity, Mahomes under a field goal at home very often. So I'm going to stay back, watch, because Buffalo is for sure legit. But we'll see if KC's defense can do anything. I appreciate it, Alec. We will talk to you later on. Good luck this week.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Yep. We got someone else up? Nice. Welcome back, Paul. How are you doing today?
Hey, good. How are you doing?
We're doing great. What are you looking at to bet today?
All right. Well, I have 4 games in college that I like a lot, and I wanted to see if you like one over the other real quickly.
Sure. Yeah, throw them at me.
Go with that one. Okay. All right. So 361 Baylor. I'm sorry, 361 West Virginia. 320 Syracuse. 379 Oklahoma. And 382 Nebraska.
Okay. So first off, West Virginia, I didn't and wouldn't bet the game at 3, but it was close. I definitely lean that way and would bet them at 3.5 for sure. So don't hate that one. Syracuse Wake, 0 opinion. So I couldn't really help you there. one way or the other. Oklahoma, Texas, we talk about with Collin for like 6-7 minutes today. And we've talked about it even yesterday and the day prior a little bit. People have been asking, what do you think of Oklahoma, Texas? Look, I'll just say real quick, and then you'll hear it again later in more detail. But the time to, and we talked about it over the summer, the time to bet Texas was when everyone was saying it's a rebuilding year for Texas. Not after we see some games and you only get 3 points against Oklahoma. Like, I think you're paying a premium to play Texas at all. If anything, it's a buy low on Oklahoma. Now, the worry for me is Rattler just is clearly not as good as Lincoln Riley quarterbacks of old with Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, and Jalen Hurts. It's just pretty evident. Collin makes a case, though, that the young kid, Caleb Williams, is the backup. Zone read guy, has some wheels, probably a better passer, actually. Maybe he turns to him here. He's been, like, saving him for the Texas game. I don't know. I'm staying away, but if anything, I would definitely look at Oklahoma. They're still -3s in the market. And then remind me, what was the last one that you mentioned?
382 Nebraska.
It's a stay away for me. Look, I was impressed. Nebraska just like took care of Northwestern, like how they did, and they've graded out better than their record as a whole. And then the worry is like, hey, is Michigan even actually that good? I thought that last week, then they just boat raced Wisconsin. So I'm staying away one more time, but I'm pretty sure my number's around fair, around 3.5 regardless. So if I were to pick of your 4, it's Oklahoma -3.
Okay, yeah, I will buy low on Oklahoma and roll with that.
Sounds good, man. Appreciate the phone call. We'll talk to you next time.
Yep. Take care.
See ya. What's up, Joey? Welcome back to the show. What are you looking at for today?
I'm going to go back with another NFL teaser. Patriots on FanDuel. Patriots and Vikings are both 8.5-point favorites. I want to tease them down to 2.5.
Okay, so Minnesota is 8.5, which is interesting. They've moved up today. A lot of places 2.9, getting out ahead of all the teaser exposure. So hopefully people were using Minnesota prior, but you can get 8.5. There's still 1-8 left too, but it is pushing that direction where you won't be able to use the Vikings in a teaser probably after today at all. And then the Pats, 8.5, mostly across the board. So we can give you that as well. Yeah, fair enough. Straight optimal teaser strategy. We'll give it to you. 6-point teaser at -110 and lock you in.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Cool, man. Take it easy. We'll talk to you next time.
All right, bye.
All right, who we got next? Tom, what's up, man? How are you doing today?
All right, buddy. Big day.
It is, sir.
Big day.
Bigger for me than you probably because I know you had the division bet, which somehow lost. But we can still get this one, get them through to the playoffs, see what happens. What are you looking at to bet? Are you going to bet the game? Are you going to go with baseball?
Yeah, I was thinking about jinxing them and make a bet, not in real life, but make a bet and hopefully I lose. Thinking Cardinals money line.
Okay. You want Cardinals money line? You want full game money line?
Yep, and pull like hell I lose.
That works for me. The problem is that you've won this show the last 2 months, so your bets have been doing well. Plus 215. Plus 215 is the best price on the dog. But we'll like it. Well, and we'll lock it. So let's go Dodgers. Hope that Tom jinxes this one. And, yeah, we'll talk to you tomorrow, Tom. We appreciate the call. Actually, you're through. We're going to talk to you in an hour for day 3 of Who Wants to Be Betting Extraordinaire. 4 of you had the under for Garrett Cole strikeouts. So we'll talk to you soon.
All right, brother. Peace.
See ya.
Go Dodgers.
Go Dodgers. Lock me in for the Cardinals. I love it. What's up, Patrick? How you doing today? Nervous?
Cardinals are coming. Tra-la, tra-la. Me and Tom Davis riding that Cardinal money line.
Okay. You want
That's
the same
make
bet
you
then?
A little nervous, Preston.
Plus
No,
215.
I bet that like on Monday.
Did you lock it in as the show bet?
Of the week. I did.
Oh, okay. I forgot. You probably got a worse price then, right?
I did. I think I got like 192, 193. I really thought it was going to move in my favor. I shouldn't have realized, or I should have
realized the
that.
Dodgers are the best team in baseball.
Well, yeah, that's how I always place my bets too. I always bank on the higher ranked team in college football and the team with the better record in NFL. That's how you win money.
There might be something correlated if you're able to predict that early in the seasons, who's going to be the best. Let's make our friendly wager real quick. This is my offer. If you have a better idea, you can let me know. The run line, Dodgers -1.5. It's basically even both ways. That way we don't have to have, like a -2 something. Whatever you generally would bet on a game, whatever your sizing is, you pitch it, whatever you want to have on the Cardinals, probably additional to whatever it is that you've bet anyway on the money line at a horrible price. I'll match it. I'll agree to it, but I have to lay the 1.5. Unless you have a better idea.
I didn't actually bet money on this game. If I was going to bet money, I would put some emotional risk management and actually bet the Dodgers. But you know what? I will stake a little bit on this game just for a friendly wager at +1.5.
Okay, if you want, you can DM me the amount if you don't want to say it, and I'll match whatever you want to do, and I'll take the -1.5.
Fine.
Look, if he wants to bet like 100,000,
let's just go for a nickel then. Let's go for a nickel.
Nickel it is. That's fair with me. Quan's like, what the hell is a nickel?
There should be like a jersey wearing involved or something like that.
Oh, I'll do that. That works. I'll give you a little bonus. If the Cardinals win, I'll buy a jersey of a Cardinals player of your choice, and I'll wear it whenever I actually get it delivered.
And how about this? I for one of the promos earlier this year, I got a horrific Cardinals bucket hat. I want to send it in, and I want you to wear that bucket hat too. It's more demeaning
that
than
works.
jersey.
Is it that ugly? It's that bad?
It's pretty bad.
Okay.
It's straight out of 1999.
That's perfect. By the way, there's better prices even since this call started on the Cardinals. There's some more Dodgers team coming globally.
Of course there is.
Yeah. Of course there is. Anyways, you can lock in a football play real quick too while you're on the phone for the week.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's the purpose of the call, isn't it? You know what? I'm going 100% against caller Alec and taking the Chiefs. And you kind of mentioned it. I mean, this is the perfect time to sell high on the Bills. I mean, look who they've played. I mean, the defense has pitched in shutouts against Davis Mills and the Texans. Mm-hmm. Congratulations. I mean, beat Washington, whose defense is horrifically overrated. Somehow they lost to the Steelers. I still don't quite understand that. I think there was a little bit of weather that game, but that made no sense.
It's crazy.
And they shut out the Dolphins. I mean, and to get the Chiefs for under a field goal at home, I mean, with the fans back, because I know they played in the playoffs last year, and I think the line may have closed at 3.5. That was without fans. I mean, I think the Chiefs are going to roll them here. Maybe not roll them, but I think they'll cover the 2.5.
I do think there's also some upside that's hard to quantify in the fact that people are like, "Ooh, Chiefs not as good," pointing to the defense. Their offense, for one, has still been great, and they're still, a couple games into a season with an entirely new offensive line that's only going to improve and get more cohesive as they play more games. So I think there is upside on KC. I'm glad you agree. I think 2.5 is the side. But if it lands 3, he can at least get his push, and you can take the W.
I think that's going to close 3. I do. I don't think it's going to close 2.5. And I'm really surprised it got down to 2.5.
Yeah. I don't know who it was that was hitting it early in the week. We'll see. But maybe it's telling. I don't know. There's probably people that are using Bills in a bunch of teasers. That's not a game I would want to tease. I know the Chiefs tend to play all these close games now.
Not with that total.
Yeah, there's no chance. So I would add that for people that are looking, 2.5 up to 8.5. I would stay completely away.
Now with the point total of 56.
Up to 57 even some spots now too.
Yeah, no thanks. All right, well let's go Cardinals.
Yep, go Dodgers. Talk to you later on, Patrick. Take it easy.
See ya.
What do we got? Cool. Welcome back, Nick. Welcome to the show. What are you looking at to bet today?
Well, first of all, I have to say emotional risk management might be my favorite term that I've heard yet on this show. That was great by Patrick. I
think that's going to be on Patrick's tombstone after he dies. It's going to be emotional risk management 1970 something to whatever the year is. I don't know how old Patrick is, but that's my guess. Hopefully 70s doesn't offend him.
In the miracle chance Penn State hits +3, I may have to bet them because I'm a Hawkeyes fan this weekend, but for my emotional risk management. But yeah. Anyways, but for now, because I don't think I have the stomach to bet Akron as much as I love ugly teams, I think I'm going to go with one of the plays actually you like because there's not much left for me to choose from that I like. So I'll take Ole Miss -5.5.
It came back down. There was a little bit of Arkansas money on the 6.5s. It's even 5 some spots now. So some battling going on. We'll see where it ends up by the end of the week. I know Arkansas is somewhat graded out well and then didn't at all against Georgia, and it's Georgia. I still think Ole Miss's offense is, like, if Georgia was scoring on Arkansas at that rate, Mississippi should too, at least. So I'm with you, and we can give you 5. By the way, something to consider. Yep. I'd have to look historically. My guess is that teasing Penn State with a total of 40.5 to 8 at plus 100 is ahead.
Ooh.
Just something to consider. And I'm not sure if you can find another college game that would match and pair it with, but a plus 100, or just go minus 110. And if you can cross college with an NFL, maybe that's the way to go. But a total 40.5 and getting Penn State over the TD, that's I think that's sexy at plus 100.
Yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense. And as much as I love Iowa's defense, obviously the turnover regression is going to hit at some point a little bit. So, sure. And everything like that. So.
Plus, you can emotionally hedge, so to speak, but still win the game by 1 to 7 or 8 and like cash your bet, and Iowa still wins, right? So you have like a bigger gap to middle your emotional side and your actual money side. So anyway.
Yeah, maybe Iowa will win the game 6-4 like they did in 2004 against them. I don't know.
Was that the final score, 6-4?
Dead serious, yes. In 2004 it was. Yeah, it was. I was at Penn State and they won 6-4.
Wow. I was still in high school. I wasn't really following. I had no idea there was a final score of 6-4. That's wild. All right, I'll dig into the box score later. I'll look it up.
Random little nugget, but yeah. Anyways, but we'll go with Ole Miss minus 5 then, and hopefully I can call it for betting extraordinaire. If not, I'll put the message in the chat.
Yes, we gave you a pass. He does have a doctor's appointment. He's going to try his best to multitask, but either way, you're good, and we will hopefully talk to you then.
I appreciate it.
See ya.
Sounds great. Have a good one.
That doctor's note, Patrick says, sad face, 1978.
It's not that sad. I said 70s. I definitely wasn't thinking like 1970s. I didn't think he was in his 50s.
1950 would be.
He's talked. He knows I'm being honest too, because we've talked music before, and like I know he's not 17 years older than me or something. Like, it's all good, Patrick. I would have guessed in that half of the 70s. All good. All right.
Is that Carlos?
What's up, Carlos? Welcome back to the show. What are you looking at betting today?
What's up, Preston? So I'm gonna hit you with a curveball today. Because hockey didn't work, obviously, last night.
Shocker. Your guy, though. Your guy gave you a price and a bet that didn't exist. I'm surprised they lost.
That was terrible. Anyway, I wanted to ask you, because it's like it's less than 2 weeks away to the NBA. And, I'm a Washington fan, although I hate the Wizards. And I wanted your very quick, because I know there's other people on the line, your very quick observation of the Wizards this year.
You know what their season win total is off the top of your head?
I do not.
Here's the deal. I haven't, since the NBA draft, updated my numbers to the point where I can run a simulation and actually project out for season wins. I've been telling Qwan I need to do that this week so that we can cover the NBA before the season actually starts. But I can't actually admit hey, okay, this is what I would do. But here's the deal. I mean, bringing in Kuzma and Montrezl Harrell and KCP, and then you also brought in Spencer Dinwiddie, I believe. You have Bradley Beal still there. You still have some young guys with Denny Avdija, and I'm not sure if that's how you actually say it. And I love Davis Bertans. He's one of my favorite players, period. 33.5. Qwan just looked it up. So 33.5 is your total. I'll tell you this. I could only buy the Wizards off the top of my head. I don't think there's a ton of value going under. They also brought in Aaron Holiday. One of the Holidays is a fine, 8th, 9th, 10th man. You're sneaky deep. The problem is a lot of the Eastern Conference is improving too. So I'd have to look in and see. In my head, it seems like your roster is better than 33.5. But there's a chance that all the other Eastern Conference teams are better, and that 33.5 has to be 33.5, depending on schedule and all that. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but I'm somewhat bullish, all things considered. And I think, the loss of Westbrook, for sure, it isn't meaning much. I think you guys can be at least similarly good. Rui too, Rui Hachimura, another guy who could take another leap.
Yeah, Rui. Yeah. Well, I thank you for that. I thank you for that. So my bet today is going to be in relation to the NBA. It will be preseason basketball, Dallas minus 5.5. There you go.
Why?
I heard Utah is resting most of their players.
They are.
So
It moved from
that
2.5 to 5.5. But
There you go.
that already moved.
Yeah, I know.
So that means
Can't
that
argue
means that
those
there's
down.
probably no edge now. Like at 2.5,
Yeah.
I think the implied win probability for NBA is like 56%. Now 5.5 is 68%, and your 12% edge that you had before the news is actually gone.
It's gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
You can still go with it. And I found you a -5, so I can still give you -5.
Okay.
But I just wanted to
There you go.
relate to the crowd, and Carlos knows I love him. But like, you're not
Yes,
generally going to win betting the worst number, like a 3-point move after the news is already announced and the market is settled in. Generally.
Correct.
But Carlos has a good
Generally,
feeling.
yeah.
He heard the Mavericks are due this preseason.
Uh-oh.
And I'll tell you, the -5 is a
I
half
didn't
point
say it,
better
Quan.
than like everywhere else. So maybe you're still good.
Hey, I didn't
But
say it, Quan.
No, yeah.
Okay.
if you hear that the Jazz are out players and you can hurry and get a -2.5 or 3, great. But you don't generally, again, 4 hours later, bet the -5.5 because the Jazz have players out. It's a pretty big difference, especially in basketball, between 2.5 and 5.5. 5's one of the most landed on numbers in the sport. Anyways, Quan's kind of smiling over there. I'm being nice. I'm just trying to help everyone
he
out.
was so dejected.
He was like, oh, yeah.
He's like, I know.
Good point. It's all good, Carlos. We'll lock you in at the 5, though. I'm going to root for you now. I love Luka. He's my favorite
Awesome.
player in the league. So go Dallas.
Go Dallas. Thanks, bud.
See ya. All right, who's next? What's up, Hunter? How are you doing? Welcome back to the show.
What's going on, boss?
I am doing well. What are you looking at to bet today?
I'm gonna do NFL again and go with the Cowboys -7.
Okay. A lot of people were using this as a teaser leg yesterday. Break it down for us, though. What do you like about Giants-Dallas matchup?
I really just don't like the Giants. I think Cowboys the 4-0 against the spread. I think I heard that. I think they're the last team who's undefeated against the spread. I know it's a division game, so they're typically close, but
They are.
I just like Cowboys offense, and I'm not a fan of Giants at all. I just think they're pretty bad. I know kind of Daniel Jones hype has been up just because of his fantasy production and stuff, but I think
We did have, I'll say
think they
this,
can get by
yesterday we had a caller that said, I don't remember who it was, so I can't give you credit, but they basically said, look, the Saints lost that game against the Giants more than the Giants really earned it. Like the Saints were up comfortably, should have won the game. So I don't necessarily disagree with your anti-Giants sentiment. Like you're probably right. I am afraid though, look, before the season, I'm not sure what the game of the year line is, but I'm guessing it was like 4 or 4.5. Maybe a little higher. But now laying 7 with Dallas, it's like you have to be pretty confident that the Cowboys are just a lot better than everyone thought they would be. And it's hard to be confident 4 games into a season. So that's what's tough for me is I think you're kind of paying a premium on Dallas here. The time to sell was probably, on the Giants would probably be now, though. So from that sense, I think you could be right because they went outright against the Saints. Like they were getting 7.5 against the Saints, and I think most people think Dallas is better than New Orleans. So in a sense, you're right. Like, hey, let's sell on the Giants right away. And if you're good, you're good. But it's interesting. And by the way, I can give you -7, -103. That's the best price.
Okay, cool. And I do think it's going to be a higher scoring game. It'll probably hit the over. I think it'll maybe be a 34-21 type game.
It's been moving up.
Because Cowboys defense isn't great, but yeah, I think they'll cover the spread.
Cool, man. We will lock you in. Good luck, and we'll talk to you next time.
Yep, I'll talk to you in a little bit.
See ya.
Yep.
What do we got? How's it going, Jim? Welcome back to the show. What are you looking at betting today?
I'm going to go to the NFL, although this week kind of scares me. It looks like everything's a little too easy.
Okay.
So I'm scared I'm going to get trapped here. I'm going to take the Raiders, -5.5, I think they are.
Okay, continue. Why is that?
I was thinking about the under here, but what scares me is like how much the Raiders would score. I'm really selling on Justin Fields. I also think David Montgomery is a huge injury for them. He ranks second in the league in yards after contact. And when you watch them play, it's not that they have some great run blocking scheme. It's a lot of him making people miss. And I mean, they can't throw the ball. They're going to face, one of the best D lines in the league and the Raiders. I don't see how it could be that competitive under a touchdown.
I like the read. This was close to a buy for me. I think I was waiting to see if there was some move back because the Raiders just didn't look too good. There, I can give you -5, by the way. There's a few 5s showing. I've just been kind of patient with this. But your point about Montgomery, I mean, he's just been phenomenal. So, do running backs really matter a lot to a point spread? Maybe not. Williams is serviceable enough. He'll take over. But I think your read, because this is what stood out to me the most after Justin Fields starts against the Browns. He takes 9 sacks. He can't go through his progressions. They play the Lions, and look, it's the Detroit Lions still. And I thought, hey, it's a good time to probably buy on Chicago. We talked about it. We joked around with Carlos, who liked Detroit money line. It was just like, all right, 2.5 is probably too cheap. It's still the Lions. But guess what? The Lions were the first team since 1981 on their first 3 drives of that game to get inside the red zone and get 0 total points all in all 3 drives. So that Bears-Lions game really graded out a lot closer than the final score showed. And so going right back against a decent defensive line here with the Raiders playing in Las Vegas and fading Justin Fields and the Bears, I don't hate that. I think you're right. And I do like this one. So -5, we'll lock you in. And, we're in agreement. Good luck, man.
All right, thanks.
Take care. You were chatty over there during that call. Did you your mom call? Grandma?
I was cutting the callers because we got the Collin Wilson interview.
Okay. Did they hang up yet?
Yeah, there are going to be some in the Discord and some in the YouTube comment.
Okay, we will probably still have another 7 to 10 minutes after
said he
calling.
couldn't hold that long. So
who was it?
Hayden from Dallas.
Okay, sorry, Hayden from Dallas. We do have 20 minutes with Collin though. We got to play it. Who's up next? We have one more call now.
We got 4 callers right
now. All right, we'll go 4 quick, and then we'll hit with Collin. Jamie, you're up first. Welcome to the show. What are you looking at betting?
All right. Well, first off, I'll give you the other teaser leg for that Iowa because I bet it last night. I don't bet many college teasers, but I think UVA is a good other teaser leg there, especially at +100. I got 8.5. So if anyone's looking for that, Nick.
Teaser with a total at 70 doesn't call my name.
Well, yeah, that's the downside of that. I bet UVA straight +3.
Yeah, I think you need to like UVA enough where you think they should be a favorite or something anyway to take this.
Yeah, that's where I'm at on that one, and I wanted more looking for
you picked out
dance partner with
The real play is if you have the option is to do an open teaser. Some sportsbooks offer that. Do it with Penn State and wait until some other Big Ten game where you can do something similar in the next couple weeks. I'm sure one will present itself rather than forcing it, but I'll have to look at the board and see.
Anyways, let's go KBO. I have a pretty good edge in the game tonight, so I'll go for that.
Qwan just pulled out his cell phone.
Kia under 10. That's right. Yeah, Kia under 10. I make this 9 actually. So.
Okay.
It's that same guy we bet on last week, Takahashi, the AAA guy from the Reds. He hasn't given up a run yet. He's got a whip under 1. He's up against LG. LG is throwing a bullpen game, which is, I'm guessing, why this total is so high.
Yeah, that's a little scary.
But the Kia offense averages under 4 a game. I don't think they're going to light him up. LG has one of the best bullpens in the league, and Takahashi should go pretty deep. So the Kia bullpen's not great, but he should go 6 or 7, even if he gives up 2 or 3. I just don't see how this gets to 11.
We will lock you in to the 10. I was going to say, I've never seen Qwan more intent on a phone call.
This is the most I've ever listened to a caller.
He was staring into oblivion, not worrying about the board, the screen, who may be calling, who's holding. Look, he's betting this, so the pressure is on. We'll lock you in under 10.
All right,
but Quan's followed the last few, and it didn't go as well.
All right, Qwan, we're in it together, brother.
I'm gonna listen, Jamie. I can't go over 2.
Quan, you should, whatever you normally bet, you should bet double.
Come on, you told me not to do that.
You should chase your KBO loss from
man.
before. Hey, take it easy, Joey. We'll talk to you later. Or Jamie, excuse me.
The chase. Yep, see you guys.
See ya.
All right, yep.
He dropped one last night, and I thought about it too.
Did that one win?
I don't know.
Because remember, you always pass on the winners. Really, you're like, you need to triple down on this one, in my opinion. Who's up next?
Sarah.
Hey, what's going on, Sarah? Welcome back to the show. What are you looking at betting?
What's going on, Preston? Just real quick, the under first 5 in the baseball game tonight.
Was it you that did that yesterday?
Yes. I mean, you were right on about, like, the quick hooks, like Cole was out of there in a heartbeat after he gave up that third. So, I mean, that's basically what saved that play.
And you hung on. Yeah. You got 4 still on the board, a few spots, but I'll ask you just for the sake of where you prefer. So you can do a 4 under minus 122 or a 3.5 plus 100.
What's better mathematically, according to you?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head for a first half total. My presumption is that for a half run in a 5-inning event, 22 cents is probably about similar.
I'll take the 4.
Take the 4. It's a free roll anyway. It's the contest for the month. It's not a big deal. I think that's fine. There's also some other books that are more like, ooh, I just found a 4 minus 120. So 2 cents better. It's probably the 4 minus 120 that's slightly ahead. So let's give you that. Let's give you the minus 120. And yeah, it's just about minus 129 most spots that even have 4. So yeah, very interesting. But we'll lock you in for it. If you're about to listen to Collin's interview, he makes some very interesting points about Scherzer versus the Cardinals, but then also a little bit about Joe West and what he's doing behind the plate. So you can listen to that here in a couple minutes.
Nice. Looking forward to it, man. Take care.
Yep. Have a good one. One more, Quan? 2? Okay.
Got Cam in New Jersey.
Yep. Welcome back to the show, Cam. What are you looking at betting today?
Hey, what's up? Yeah, I wanted to give out the under in this Browns Chargers, but it looks like there's no more 48s. And Penn State is steamed down to 1.5, so I'm gonna still wait on that. Probably give it out tomorrow or Friday. Probably play them on the money line. I wanted your thoughts on Michigan, Nebraska. I was leaning towards Nebraska in that one.
Someone else was asking about that earlier on the show too. I don't have an opinion there, but you can take 3.5 if that's what you want to roll with.
Yeah, no, that's not what I wanted my play for today. That's kind of one of your thoughts. I'm gonna go with LSU plus 3.5.
All right, I know a few people on that. I liked LSU as well. Interestingly enough, it went to 3, then back to 3.5.
Yeah, kind of similar angles on the why I like Nebraska. I just think it's a big letdown for both. Well, not more so Kentucky letdown. I just also don't, for the Nebraska game, I just don't know how much last week was Michigan's really good or Wisconsin is just really
just
bad.
That bad. I hope it's not that Wisconsin's just that bad. But, yeah, it's definitely – I mentioned that earlier actually on the show today. The exact sentiments were I just have to wait and see one more time because Nebraska was impressive against Northwestern. And their underlying metrics say they should be better than their record just as a whole this year, although they always have under Scott Frost, basically. They've just always underachieved. But then the real question is, like, is Michigan actually this legit, or was it a Wisconsin problem? I don't know. Let's wait a little. So that's where I'm at. But, yeah, we'll lock you in for 3.5 on LSU.
All right, man. Thank you.
Take care.
Last caller is Christian.
Okay. Christian, welcome back to the show. Let's get what you're looking at betting today.
Hey, Preston. Well, I suck at baseball. I mean, I know I pushed yesterday, but it felt like a loss, so I'm going to avoid it tonight. So I'm going to go tomorrow into the Coastal Carolina game. I'm going to just go with Coastal minus. Hopefully there's some 19 still out there.
There are. Is McCall officially cleared to play? Have you seen?
No, he's out.
He's officially out.
From what I'm seeing.
It says Coastal Carolina coach as of, this is an older one, McCall ready to rock and roll. Coach says he might play. I haven't seen anything while I just quickly searched that he's out for sure. That's why I've stayed away from the game, but I'll tell you this, like everyone that runs numbers or model or anything, minus 19 is way too low. So Arkansas State's defense, they're dead last in EPA. They're dead last against the pass. And Coastal Carolina's like number 2 in both categories in the entire country. Like they should, McCall or not, be able to do what they want on that side of the ball. So hopefully McCall plays, but it's definitely this should be like mid-20s if he was healthy and a go.
Yeah, I thought that too. I saw some of those stats too, just how bad Arkansas's defense was and how Coastal just runs the score up on everyone. So I feel good about it, even though I'm sure it's a public favorite. I don't care. I still like it.
All right, we will lock you into 19, man. Appreciate the call.
All right, see ya.
Take care. All right, we good for the Collin segment? All right, let's roll with it. Collin, he's probably on MLB Network right now, so we pre-recorded it. Qwan will roll. We're welcoming back Collin Wilson from the Action Network. We were actually pre-recording this for you guys because Collin Wilson has a date with the MLB Network, which, by the way, dude, I've always appreciated your friendship. I've always appreciated, for example, this morning that I just was like, hey, you want to come on and talk college football? And you still found a way to fit this in. But, like, all power to you. I'm proud of you. You're on MLB Network later talking Cardinals, Dodgers. My Dodgers won 106 games, and they still have to play a one-off game. So we're going to start with this. We're going to get to college football in a second. But what are you going to break down for them later? Give us a little preview, and then just any macro assessment about the playoffs, the World Series, futures, setting up here.
Yeah, well, I mean, first off, thank you for the props, and I wouldn't be here unless I had support from guys like you. If you're going to make it anywhere in this industry, you have to prove yourself. You have to actually, get down in the dirt, in the trenches, kind of like football players, and push money around and trade ideas with sharp people. And so I appreciate that. But no, I've spent the last hour, probably hour and a half, breaking down Dodgers Cardinals more than I thought that I would. To get ready to go on this MLB spot. And what I came up with is the Dodgers are going to throw every right-hander they possibly can, and that's if Max Scherzer has any problems, and I'm not sure that he will. This Cardinals lineup has completely feasted on left-handed pitching, and I went through our Action Network Bet Labs tool to look at, do these streaks in August and September correlate to like a wild card win? Because for anybody that doesn't know me whatsoever, I'm a diehard Royals fan, and we were sub 500 in 2014, the last week of July, and still made it all the way to the World Series against another wild card team, which was the San Francisco Giants. And there's this long history of some wild card teams winning it. So is there a correlation? I found out no. It's actually like 9-7 if you look at the teams that got hot. Like there's the 2002 A's that won 20 in a row. They didn't do anything. There's the 2017, I have it in my notes, Cleveland in 2017 had an 18-game winning streak. They didn't do anything. So there's no correlation that like the Cardinals are going to come in here and do something because they've been hot lately. What they can't do is hit right-handed pitching. So I expect everybody, like David Price and everybody that's left-handed, they're not going to see anything tonight. And if Scherzer gets in trouble, they're going to pivot off to Gonsolin. They're going to pivot off to Kenley Jansen, to, and Corey Knebel, the number of guys in the bullpen. And then if you look at Wainwright, he loves to live on that sinker ball. It's a little bit of a problem. Joe West is behind the plate tonight. He has he likes to call. There's a lot of walks in his game. There's a lot of runs in his game. That's what's got me off the under. I'm not going to take an under. I know the steam is pushing this down to 7. It's understandable when you look at what Wainwright and Scherzer have done lately, especially when you consider like what Scherzer has thrown, I think, 20 innings. He's thrown like 13 or 14 innings against the Cardinals this year, and they've whiffed 22 times. Like, he's got this lineup. Like, they haven't scored any earned runs whatsoever. This lineup cannot hit him whatsoever. So I wouldn't be surprised if Mad Max is throwing the entire game, and why not in a one-game playoff with the Giants coming up. And then for some player props, I'm going to go on and talk about Trey Turner. Trey Turner has had a massive number of ABs against Wainwright, I think 19, maybe more than that. And in that time, he has a 10% whiff rate. And like a general really good whiff rate for a hitter in Major League Baseball is like 25%, 22%. Trey Turner's 10%. Yeah. Trey Turner's like 10% lifetime. So total bases prop on the over on Trey Turner. And then on the flip side of that, if you want to go against a Cardinal hitter, Yadier Molina is 1 of 20 lifetime against Max Scherzer, so under his hits, under his total bases. But I'm not going to touch the total with Joe West behind the plate. His strike zone's a little flimsy, but I like the Dodgers -1.5. But my bigger play is on Trey Turner props.
I like it, and I hope you're right, obviously. And then we can go to some games later on in the playoffs. Real quick, you mentioned to me, off air, you're hoping to get Dodgers-Giants as a matchup anyway, just as a baseball fan, maybe potentially as a better. Do you have anything on that or what you're looking at long-term there?
Well, long-term for the World Series, my money has always been on the Rays and the Brewers. Just everything from Rays winning the AL, Brewers winning the NL. That was bets I was making back in February.
Before Devin Williams punched a wall?
Before Devin Williams punched a wall. That's quite a bullpen that they have going on there. So I'm not sure who's – I don't know if Hader can possibly pitch 150 innings this postseason, but I guess we'll find out. Corbin Burns and Brandon Woodruff, really enough said. You don't have to go any farther on what that pitching staff is. And so I'm glad they're on the other side of the Giants and Dodgers. I hope those two teams just tear each other apart. I couldn't be happier with how the Brewers got set up for their path. As far as the Rays go, I know I was talking with Sean Zerillo. I'm going to name drop Sean over at Action Network, but he gave a little bit of a statistical advantage to the Red Sox over the Rays, like 51%, just from the fact he's matching up all the pins and the hitting and everything else. But I think the Rays, it's just, I don't know if you can mathematically put into a spreadsheet what the Rays are during the postseason. They are built to play in the postseason. It's like some defenses in college football are built to play in the red zone. They'll give you all the yards up till the 20-yard line, then they'll shut you down.
Yeah.
And the Rays are just built that way with their bullpen. So I am Rays and Brewers all the way from a cheering perspective. Mentioning to you offline, just Dodgers Giants, the fact that you and I have other friends on Twitter that are such diehard Giants fans that they can't control themselves. This is the matchup that I want, just for entertainment value.
It would be entertaining for sure.
Yes.
Stressful for me. All right. We appreciate all the MLB. We're going to get to what people actually care about. That's college football this week. There's 2 big games. Usually big games, look, we've talked about this before. We're fine to talk about New Mexico State, Nevada if we wanted to. We're going to talk because I think these are both really interesting just from a market perspective. And people are trying to, get better at betting. First one, I've had more questions this week already than any other game. Oklahoma, Texas. And it's like, what are your thoughts on this game? Like, it's only -3. That's kind of crazy, right? But also, majority of people I talk to or have seen are like, man, Texas is going to win this game outright. Oklahoma's been trash. And what's so interesting about it, and then I'll let you take it from here. Nobody was talking about Texas over the summer. It was, they need a few years to rebuild. And we talked about this when we did our season win totals draft, and I liked Texas over because it was the year they finally weren't getting talked about. Now, just fast forward a few weeks later, they're only 3-point dogs to Oklahoma. It's not the time to buy Texas now. If anything, it's to buy on an Oklahoma team and Rattler that, let's just be honest, isn't as good as the past quarterbacks Lincoln Riley has had, but the defense has been really strong. So what are your thoughts on the game? How does it match up? And do you have a pick or a bet?
Oh yeah, I just submitted 2,000 words to the Action Network, so I'll give everybody the Cliff Notes version. I'll give everybody the Cliff Notes version of what I said about that game. But from a sports psychology standpoint, you're exactly right. This is not the time to be buying on Texas. And I think people look at what's going on with Oklahoma and with Spencer Rattler, and it's there. It really is legitimately there are problems with him throwing downfield. He only had like 2 attempts against Kansas State past 20 yards last week. I think I was here talking to you like 2 or 3 weeks ago, like, where is it? Where is this explosive passing? And it just seems to be like swing passes out to Kennedy Brooks and Eric Ray, or, swing passes out to some wide receivers and let them create all the explosive plays. So I continue to wonder, like, there's no way you're saving stuff for the Texas game. Like, is he really hurt? Is he incapable of throwing deep? Because he's had clean pockets all year. He's one of the least pressured quarterbacks in all of college football, and he still can't complete things downfield. And now you've got a fan base screaming, we want Caleb Williams, we want Caleb Williams. And if you go and watch any tape of this kid, which for everybody listening, Caleb Williams was the number 2 prospect in the signing class this past year, only above the Quinn Ewers kid that skipped high school and went to Ohio State. But this Caleb Williams kid is dual threat, can run the zone read, and just blow defenses apart. And if I'm sitting back and thinking to myself, what if Lincoln Riley has had Spencer Rattler in there the entire time, just holding Caleb Williams off tape, and he's been waiting to run the Caleb Williams zone read against a Texas defense who statistically is one of the worst in the nation. When I say that, like, I hate saying it because I was kind of on this Texas thing. I love Casey Thompson. They've got an explosive element to their offense. There's no knock on what Sark's doing on offense, but Pete Kwiatkowski on defense, we're talking they're 123rd in standard downs success rate. And you say, that's a huge word. What the hell are you talking about? On 1st and 10 and 2nd and 7, they are near dead last in stopping teams from achieving the amount of yards that they need to. And it gets worse with like explosiveness, and then in passing downs it gets bad, third downs it gets bad. I couldn't even, let's put it how bad it is. When I wrote the write-up, I couldn't even find a player to center on to find a good video to like give them some credit about what they're doing on defense. They are outside the top 100 and they're outside the top 100 in havoc. They're like 97th in PFF tackling. I couldn't find one thing about this Texas defense. So the handicap on this game really is Spencer Rattler able, with no one in the pocket and with no resistance in the secondary, is he going to be able to put points up on the board whenever he wants? And if he's incapable of doing that, is this where Caleb Williams comes in and does what Max Duggan did last week? And I'm telling you, this Caleb Williams kid for OU has a game like Max Duggan. Like for TCU's quarterback, I can zone read it, and if I see the field and there's someone deep, I'm going to pull back and I'm going to go. That's what kind of quarterback. And that's not Spencer Rattler because he can't take off on his own and run down the field. So there's way too many advantages. And the only thing I haven't talked about to finally cap all this off, Oklahoma's defense is really good. Yeah. No knock on Texas' offense, but Oklahoma's defense is getting behind the line of scrimmage all the time. They have a good secondary. They have a very aggressive edge, Nick Benito. I believe in the OU defense. And I think Lincoln Riley will maybe give Rattler a series or two. If this is like 0-0 after the first quarter, why are you not making the switch? So very interesting things going on there.
For the last 2 minutes and 13 seconds,
OU.
I've been watching Caleb Williams highlights of the spring game here on YouTube right now. So he's deceivingly fast. I was not expecting it. The first thing, he goes zone read, and he just books it down the sideline and is like beating all the linebackers, no problem. But he looks like Duggan's a pretty good comp as far as his size and stuff. Yeah. And by the way, TCU, if Duggan, I think they fumbled 3 times to give Texas points. Like they probably win that game, at least cover. They still only lost by 5. So I'm with you in general. I just haven't had it in me to fire Oklahoma. Let's move to the other big one that I think is similar from a market perspective. It's Georgia at Auburn. Okay, I've had 2 people call in and they wanted to lay it with Georgia on the road in this game as part of like our last word Cheetah phone call stuff and our leaderboard that we track each month. This is what is kind of crazy to me. Similar to Texas, the time to buy Georgia, like we're looking at this timeline, like linearly, maybe was plus 800 to win it all if you really wanted to buy them. Mm-hmm. If you didn't want to do that, what about plus the points against Clemson in week 1? That was probably a good time to buy Georgia. If you missed that boat, maybe it was when JT Daniels was out and you were getting a discount with Bennett backing up because he's been fine and Georgia's just so good everywhere. You got some cheap options to bet Georgia in those games. It's probably not, though, the time to buy Georgia when they're laying over 2 TDs at Auburn. Like, it just doesn't happen very often. It's infrequent. Right. You could go back and look at how many times Auburn's been that big of a home dog. It just doesn't happen. I know Georgia, they grade out as like the best team in football, and I hope they are. Yeah. Like, we were all in on this early, but now's not the time, right? I actually kind of like Auburn. I'm hoping it gets to 17 somehow. It would just be glorious. What are your thoughts on the matchup here?
Yeah, I think there's a time for people like myself or you or anybody that does spreadsheet work and does advanced analytics to step back, to push away and just say, this is not the right way I should be going here. And that's kind of what got me into my Arkansas bet, is that I didn't power rate it that high. Arkansas was playing out of their mind. I thought maybe they could get a little push in the trench because they had 5 guys in the offensive line that ranked in the top 200 in PFF offensive line grading. And then you sit back and watch what Georgia does just as athletes. Like the speed they have to close on guys running east to west is like some most craziest thing I've ever seen out of linebackers. Or the fact that the offensive line brought in 2 defensive interior linemen and put 7 300-pounders just to get 2 yards. There's times where you just have to sit back with this Georgia team and be like, I got to be real careful about going against this team. So that being said, Sunday, the opener comes up 16.5, and I'm like, oh God, I made this game 12. I know it's going to go down. It's not going to go to 17. I know it's going to go down. I've got to push the Sunday limit bet of 500 across and just be mad at myself the rest of the day. So push the money across, and of course it goes down, comes back up. Of course, there are probably going to be 17s that show up. But let's have this talk that you and I had a couple of weeks ago. Teams that went on the road as double-digit favorites were supporting a terrible against the spread mark. And you would say, well, they went and played Vanderbilt. Come on. Like that, I mean, really, the Jordan Hare is a different situation. This is where kick six happened. Okay, I mean, this is a weird, funky place where weird, funky things happen, and this is a crowd that is going to be lit. This crowd's
Georgia's
already
been at home. I'll interject. They've been at home every other game, other than the Vanderbilt one, which again, Vandy.
Yeah, and the neutral site with Clemson, right? It's Charlotte, so it doesn't really count, right? But they have not been in this. It's not like when Arkansas walked into 93,000 at Sanford, been between the hedges, and was like, holy cow, right? So this is Georgia's first real hostile environment. And you're going to say, well, does that negate the 7 300-pounders on the offensive line to push the ball? I can't make a case statistically for Auburn because Alabama State and Akron are still in these numbers. What I do know is that Bo Nix is playing much better. He's having much more clean box scores. And TJ Finley is actually really not that bad of a backup quarterback. It's like if Bo Nix isn't making those plays, that play of the year scramble, if he's just getting sacked all the time, then you'd see TJ Finley. But he's doing enough to keep his job. The number's too high. You just have to make a decision for yourself whether you're going to fade this Georgia team. Now, the reason there's two things going on here, and I want everybody to remember this. In 2019, I stopped fading LSU after 5 games. I said this team is there's no mathematical category that's going to get me on the right side. I'm done. And you and I watched that national championship game against Clemson, remember, in the Westgate? I was like,
yes.
I'm not going up to the window. I'm not going up to the window betting against LSU.
Overthrew like 13 receivers in that game alone. I'm still thinking about it. Continue.
Yeah, and then last year, Alabama was that team. It's just you make a stop point. Say, I'm not going against this team. And I'm not sure Georgia has the offense to do what LSU 2019 and Alabama 2020 was. You're going to tell me that JT Daniels is healed from the lap? No, he's not. You're going to tell me Stetson Bennett's going to burn a secondary that has Roger McCreary, a top 5 D-back per PFF, and Smoke Monday, who's also in the top 100? That's not going to happen. So will Georgia get their yards when they need it on the ground and move the chains? Probably. But I don't see like a big bunch of deep explosive passing to cover a 17-point spread here. Auburn's an extremely decent team, and they can play a little bit of defense of their own. So I did take Auburn. I'm not going to buy it back. And if Georgia proves it to me offensively that they can equate to those two teams that I just referenced in the last 2 years, fine. I'm done fading you, right? I've already got my futures ticket on you for the SEC. I think I had like plus 260. I think I bought them back like in March or May to win the SEC. So I'm fine with that. This is it. This is my last call on going against Georgia.
It's interesting because I think you're right. The ceiling for Georgia, because of their offense, just isn't as good as the LSU, Alabama the last 2 years. It probably is lower, just in general. Their ceiling is lower, which by the way, I need a stopping point on when to stop betting on Wisconsin. Like it's 8.5 earlier this week against Illinois. It's like, take my money again. But it's
right.
Similar. You try to find those teams where you just have to cut yourself off, and maybe Georgia ends up being one of those, but I think they do need to prove it one more time.
Yeah, let's put in a square I'm new to betting teaser on Wisconsin and Clemson. Let's see how it turns out.
Man, Clemson, I've luckily, other than one game, stayed away from the Clemson train, but man, and I got lucky when I liked the over against NC State, which was kind of a play on Clemson anyway, and then it won in overtime. So, yeah, I was fortunate with the whole Clemson thing, but Georgia and then Wisconsin, I just can't get over that crap. Anyways, we'll let you go. We only got to the 2 games, but it's okay. If you want, let people know where you are, and if there's one kind of off-the-radar game or pick you want to throw at everyone to give yourself 3 for the week.
Yeah, I'm gonna. You can find my work at _Collin1 on Twitter. Over at actionnetwork.com. We will have every game written up, every handicap, a pick for everything, and you can download the Action app. And every time I'm pushing in these small limit bets on Sundays when these openers come out, you'll get an instant notification on your phone. And generally, it's always beating where the line ends up closing. So the app, and then on Twitter, and then as a third college football game, I took the over on USC and Utah. Something has changed since Clay Helton's gone, and it's called Kadon Slovis is now allowed to throw deep field as much as he possibly wants. His increase in throws over 20 yards has gone up to 40% from 21%. So I'm taking the over in Utah USC.
Beautiful. Thanks, Collin. Good luck today doing MLB on the network, and we will talk to you next time. Beautiful is right. I needed the cue. Qwan was trying to get it done. Look, we're wrapping up the show. It was a good interview with Collin. Good insights on those two games. Both Oklahoma and Auburn, I think, are the sides you have to bet if you're going to look at it. And hopefully he's right about the Dodgers and Scherzer against this Cardinals lineup and how they just haven't been able to hit righties.
What do you think is going to happen tonight?
Personally? Yeah. You want to know what I think?
Yeah.
That's weird.
I just last word Cheetah. We never get to discuss these things
from like a fan perspective.
Yeah.
What I think is that the Dodgers have like a 67% chance to win tonight. That's what I think.
Yeah.
And I hope that they do.
Oh, you sound nervous.
I don't think people, I was just about to explain this point. I don't think people realize how, well, for one, how much, and I mean by people, in this case, I mean like my friends and like Facebook, like Dodgers fans I grew up with in high school. They don't realize how much variance is in a one-game sample. I was actually with a good friend of mine, Zachary Kibbe, if you're listening, shout out. He's a producer. He writes songwriter. He does music. I went to L.A. last night to work on something with him. But afterwards, he's a huge Dodger fan, like bigger than I am at this point, to be completely honest. I just can't follow as closely with all the other sports stuff I'm doing. But he's very much of the belief, like, we're just so much better than the Cardinals, which is true. Like, Scherzer's way better than Wainwright, which is true. Like, we got this. Like, this is our one game to have. Like, I don't really care how hot the Cardinals be. He's right about that. Like, Collin mentioned it. Whether you've won a bunch of games or gone on a huge streak late in the year or not doesn't impact whether or not you're going to win the wild card game necessarily. So I was sitting there and I'm just like kind of going along with him, which is true. He's right. We are better in every facet, but we're still only like going to win 2/3 of the time because the market knows that the Dodgers are better. They know that Scherzer's better than Wainwright. They know we're playing in LA. Like, we still, 1 out of 3 times we lose this game, we win 106 games and we don't even make it to the real playoff. 1 out of 3. People, like, fans, again, referring to people as mostly like Dodgers fans who think like, oh, we're just so much. I had someone else that I know when I lived in Las Vegas, went to church with me, shout out Taylor, literally just texted me 1:49, 8 minutes ago. He's from down here in LA as well, and so we got friendly up there in Vegas. He said, what do you think about the game tonight? Do you like our chances? And I said, well, yeah, we should win, but anything can happen in a one-game scenario, which kind of makes the whole situation suck, haha. He's like, yeah, I totally agree, 106 wins and we get this, but I like our chances. Like, his quote here is, we can't lose this game. It's just like, we definitely can. 1 out of 3 times we lose. And that's nerve-wracking where if you're a fan and you're in this high-leverage, one-off game event, whatever it is. It makes it fun. What is great about this, and I'll reinforce this, and then we got day 3 of Who Wants to Be Betting Extraordinaire. We're going to go live in a bit. It's just a sports game. I don't actually care that much. It's fun to be a fan, but like, life is good either way. I'm appreciative of where I'm at in life, where everyone and everyone's at in life. Like, who cares if the Dodgers lose in the end? Like, it really doesn't actually matter. And sometimes I've like looked back on how much I cared in the past when I was like in my 20s. And like, I was like, just like so cringe.
That's such a spoiled take.
Spoiled?
Yeah.
I mean, I probably am spoiled. That's a correct word to say in general. I am spoiled. But I just don't care as much as I used to.
I get that, though.
And I guess I just don't want to pretend like this means that much to me because, look, it's a freaking sporting event. It doesn't matter.
You've seen the World Series.
Yeah, I watched losses in the World Series.
Listen, man.
Last year, no one could go to the games, so I didn't see that.
It could be worse. You could be me, and your season's over at the end of the regular season. So,
was your season actually over at the end of the regular season?
Okay. Let's go to betting.
Like, I'm pretty sure when you guys were 12 and 30 that your season was over.
Hey, man, day 3 of Betting Extraordinaire coming.
All right. We appreciate all your calls. I'm spoiled, but really, it's just sports. But I'm going to have fun tonight watching it with some friends And by friends, I mean while I'm in Adam's Family 2 with my kids, for some reason agreed to go to the movie, the first part of that movie. First part of the game. I don't know. I'm confused. But it is day 3. And I will watch at least like inning 4 or 5 and on. I'll be tuning in. And I know the music's rolling. Remember what happened last time I went to a movie with you during a sporting event?
I was already going to mention it. Morticia ain't getting no play.
Clippers were down 100 against the Jazz, and I find out Terrence Mann's dropping 50 balls. And I already watched the fourth quarter on my phone, so I'm sure that might be happening. Well, maybe I'll just... If we're the only ones in there, I won't care as much. If I'm sitting next to someone, then I'll play it cool. Again, it's just a sporting event. All right, we're done. Betting extraordinaire next, day 3. Everyone their chance to win $25,000. 4 of you.